Sorry, my mic just fell down. Okay, are we good? Is it... Where's my... I lost my phone now, goddamn. I'm struggling. Okay, is the mic working? Okay. Jesus Christ. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to more Ace Attorney adventures. January. It says first class cabin passageway. I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that. I wish we'd managed to find some clues to what the speckled band might be. We didn't manage to investigate at all. And I imagine that we won't be able to for a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor guarding the door. He's clearly glaring at us, as if to say, don't even think about it. Oh, wait a minute. What is it? Well, what happened to our great detective friend? Where did he go? Oh, yes, he's completely disappeared. When did he do that? He slipped away as quietly as the wind, but not before ensuring that these were securely back on my wrists. I suppose I can't go out here, huh? That door leads to the second class area. Locked. Can't open it. Oh, well, that stands to reason. No one wants to let the murderer escape. Gosh, she gave me a very stern look when she said that. It's not me! I really wish we'd had a chance to look around in Miss Pavlova's cabin. What? Why you look like that? You want something? Maybe you want me to throw you out again, Oh, no, definitely not that. Next time I have to throw you out, I show you where lobsters spend winter. Understand? I understand. Maybe I should steer clear of him until he's forgotten my face. I don't think he'll ever forget your face, Naruhodo-san. There's class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin. Not our cabin. Kamala-sama. Wardrobe. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Nobody's managed to uncover any new clues. Yes, we should probably find him and ask. January, class cabin number 1. It looks like they're still investigating in here. Yes, on that subject, I wonder if Inspector Hosonaga is unscathed. What do you mean, unscathed? Surely you haven't forgotten, have you, Naruhodo-san? Don't you remember what he said about allowing you out of this cabin to investigate? He was going to talk to the captain about it. He said he'd lay his life on the line for you. Oh, yes. But I'm sure he was exaggerating. Let's see what he has to say for himself. He might have some new information for us. You never know. I'm gonna talk to this guy first. You, where did you go? Oh, sorry, I just went to the next door cabin to invest. Why? Who gave you permission for this? Well, Seaman Hosinaga did.
That new Japanese, was it? Later, I will roll him into a ball and throw him in cold room.
He's gone back to guarding the door. I hope Inspector Hosinaga doesn't find himself in too much trouble on our account. He's really gone out of his way to help us, hasn't he? When we get back to Japan, we'll have to take him for a steak at La Carnival. That could be a very long time from now, Naruhodo-san. We can look at this desk some more, apparently. This is where Kazuma spent his final moments. Fate whistling. Speckled band. He's ready. Almost impossible to believe that he's gone. Kazuma-sama left us a valuable clue in these words. I'm sure of it. We have to solve this mystery, Naruhodo-san. We will. Oh no.
Ah, you're back.
Inspector, what happened to you? Your face is...
Please, don't worry about it. They're just scratches.
Maybe by a bear, maybe.
When I told the captain that I'd given you permission to investigate, he told me he'd pummel me with his fists and then toss me overboard.
What?
But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. So it was nothing, really.
It looks like he wasn't joking when he said he'd lay his life on the line if he had to. Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little about the neighboring cabin.
Yes, so I understand.
Oh!
I bumped into a man claiming to be a great detective a little while ago. I think his name was something like Herlock Sholmes. I don't think he was German, though.
Ah, that explains it. Shall we compare notes, then? We can tell you what we found out.
Yes, let's do it.
Cabin next door.
What? Nikolina Pavlova? She's in the cabin next door.
Oh, do you know who she is?
Please, what self-respecting ballet fan wouldn't know that graceful angel?
Oops, I think I upset him there.
Well, that tells us the neighboring cabin is unrelated to the case at least.
Oh, how?
Because angels don't go around committing crimes, do they?
Oops, now I've definitely upset him. Inspector, has your investigation in here proved fruitful?
If I'm honest, there's very little more I can do. Our duty is to make sure the scene isn't disturbed, ready to hand over to the Hong Kong police. So I'm just keeping watch here, trying not to take my eyes off the job.
Oh, I see.
Ah, there's one thing. I do have a small piece of new information for you.
Oh, what? Yes, do tell us, Inspector, please. What is this new information you have, Inspector?
It's this. The borough's medical officer has finished his examination of the body and managed to obtain the report.
Oh, Kazuma's post-mortem report. Kazuma-sama. So, what was the cause of death?
Damage to the cervical vertebrae is what's written in the report.
His neck was broken?
Yes, it would seem so. There were no obvious wounds or other signs of injury. So at first I think they were considering poison. But it turns out they found no trace of poison in his system at all.
Well, what weapon was used then?
Nothing has been found as yet, but the fact that there are no signs of a wound suggests it may have been a blunt object, something that wouldn't leave a mark.
Oh, I see. All the body's nerves run through the spine to the brain. A strong enough impact to the neck could induce death. It's a possibility, and no obvious wound would be left. Poor Kazuma.
I have a second copy of the report. If it might be useful, you're welcome to have it.
Really? Are you sure?
Yes, it's fine. I trust you. After all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never have agreed to you leaving this cabin in the first place, would I?
The post-mortem report has been added. Great detective. Oh, Mr. Sholmes was here, was he?
Yes, he seemed to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept about on the floor investigating.
This man is so weird.
But then he suddenly left. I suppose he must have become bored.
Did he say anything at all?
Actually, now you mention it, yes. Just one thing, but he practically shouted it. It's shoe polish, was all he said.
Shoe polish? I wonder what he meant.
It was when he was over there, by the piece of broken glass. Do you see?
Perhaps he was talking about this brick-colored mark, do you think? Yes, that must be it. But how could Mr. Sholmes know that's shoe polish?
That leaves me cold, I'm afraid. I have no idea.
What is it, says Sato-san? Well, Kazuma-sama was wearing leather shoes with a very dark tan hue.
Dark tan? A sort of dark brownish red, then.
Yes, a little like the color of red wine, but darker. I often repaired them for him.
Oh, does that mean that this mark was made by the polish on Kazuma's shoes as they scuffed on the floor?
The mark on the floor has been entered in the court record.
That's really all I can tell you at this stage. I should return to my post. My fellow crewmen's eyes are boring into the back of my head.
Yes, that might be for the best. Thank you. Poor Inspector. You look exhausted.
Oh, no. Well, I feel terrible that I failed to protect Asogi-san. He was my responsibility. Of course, my pain is nothing compared to yours. You were his friends. The truth is, I seem to have had a heavy head ever since I woke this morning.
A heavy head? That's interesting. My head's still throbbing too. Suspicious. I guess I'll look at the evidence. Postmortem report. Male, Far Eastern. Time of death, somewhere between 1 a.m. and a little past 2 a.m. Cause of death, damage to the cervical vertebrae, resulting in instant death. The victim's neck was almost certainly broken as a result of a strong blow to the area. No obvious external injuries or traces of poison. Mark on floor. Okay, nothing really to look at, I guess. Really is such a beautiful color, this glass. It looks like whatever it was broken clean too. But the other half is nowhere to be seen. And then there's this brick-colored mark, which is shoe polish according to that great detective you seem to know all about. I suppose it must be from Kazuma-sama's shoes.
Maybe, but what I'd like to know is, how can the detective be so sure that it's shoe polish and not something else?
Because he's a great detective, of course.
That's hardly a reason, is it? So it's clear that these letters were written with the ink that was somehow spilt on the floor, and they spell the Russian word for wardrobe.
It does seem to be an unambiguous pointer to you, Naruhodo-san, as you were sleeping in there.
But to be truly unambiguous, it should have just spelt out my name, don't you think?
Well, either way, one fact remains. It's hard to imagine that Kazuma-sama would have written his last word in Russian.
Which begs the question of who did write it. So this ventilator joins to Miss Pavlova's cabin.
Yes, that's right.
And just a few minutes before he died, Kazuma saw something emerging from it. A speckled band, as he described it.
If only Miss Pavlova had been able to shed some light on it, but she seemed as baffled as we are.
Yes, I wonder if she's telling us everything, though.
I'm not sure.
I know most people aboard would say the same about me, but there was something about that woman that didn't sit right with me. All the books provided for passengers occupying this cabin, neatly arranged on the shelf.
They were all over the place when we first looked around, if you remember.
Oh yes, and you tidied them up, didn't you?
You have to look after the ship's property. Unruly behavior in the cabin leads to damage.
But it really wasn't me who knocked them over.
Well, anyway, I feel much better now that they're neatly lined up. I can't relax when things are untidy.
I guess I head back out. And January.
Ah! Look, Naruhodo-san! Seaman Stroganov is gone.
Stronina?
The burly Russian soldier who's always crossing his arms and glaring at us.
All the Russian names are impossible to remember. Tra-la-la. Did you hear that? It sounded like someone singing. Tra-la-la-li-la-li-la-li-lay, I did it the great detective way.
This caroling, I know that lark-like voice.
Well, never mind that now. This is a golden opportunity for us.
Yes, you're right. We must seize it. Let's get inside Miss Pavlova's cabin while we can and investigate.
Definitely. Before that stringy knot crewman comes back.
It's Stroganov, not Stringy Knot.
Miss Pavlova isn't back yet. Sada-san. Oh, where's she gone? Hey, what are you doing? Those are her private things.
There's not a moment to waste, Naruhodo-san. We must investigate as quickly as we can.
I suppose you're right, for Kazuma's sake.
Not just for Kazuma-sama.
What do you mean?
It can't be long now until we arrive at port in Hong Kong. I don't want you to be in those handcuffs when you get there.
Really?
We must solve this case, Naruhodo-san. By ourselves if we have to.
Yes, we will.
Let's start left. It would seem this teapot is empty.
So the natural conclusion is that the Russians are very thirsty people.
Or because Miss Pavlova only came into this cabin last night, she hasn't had the chance to make any tea yet? I mean, it could be either.
It's definitely that they're excessively thirsty. I'll lay 1,000 to 1 on it.
You're rather obstinate, aren't you, Naruhodo-san? I wonder what this little saucer's doing on the floor.
Yes, it doesn't look like it's been dropped. More like it was put there deliberately.
Do you think there could be a leak in the roof just above here?
What? A leak?
Is this ship quite safe?
I'm sure that even if there's a little leak in the roof, it doesn't mean the whole ship's gonna sink.
No, you're right. Of course you're right.
She's really trying to persuade herself, isn't she?
I suppose every cabin has a waste paper basket.
Shall we have a little look and see what's been thrown away?
Naruhodo-san, it's poor etiquette to go sifting through someone's rubbish, you know.
Those eyes. She's looking at me like I'm a piece of rubbish now.
However, these are special circumstances, I think.
Exactly, we have no choice.
There's hardly anything in here at all. Oh, well, that's a little disappointing.
There are just a few books on the desk, nothing else by the looks of it.
Well, Miss Pavlova only ran away from the ballet last night. She's hardly occupied this cabin for any time at all.
That's true. I wonder what kind of book she likes to read.
Let me see. Yes, I see. It would seem that Miss Pavlova enjoys reading books written in Russian.
Thanks. I think I probably already knew that.
It's rude to ask too much of people, Naruhodo-san. Kindly remember that. Oh my! Miss Pavlova's case is open.
It's completely empty inside, but according to the great detective's great deduction, she was hiding her special friend in there.
Yes, a friend that she had to keep secret.
Because you're not allowed to bring animals aboard the SS Buddha. I wonder what kind of animal she had in there. And more to the point, where is it now? All the books have toppled over together. Look, every single one.
Do you think that's a god of the sea, perhaps? He's toppled too, though.
It's exactly the same as the bookcase next door, in Kazuma's cabin.
Perhaps Miss Pavlova was practicing a difficult ballet move and fell against the bookcase.
I don't know. Would she really be practicing ballet on the same night she ran away from her ballet company?
Alright then. It must have been you.
You lost your temper and knocked them all over in a fit of rage. Not everything bad that happens on this ship is because of me, you know.
Well, anyway, I'll set them all straight again here, too. I don't like seeing things in disarray.
Yes, they're displayed in the cabin too. Look, the SS Buddha's rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden.
I suppose Miss Pavlova realized that she needed to keep the contents of her case a secret after she read this. Her special friend, I mean.
I wonder where her friend has disappeared to now. It's probably having fun exploring the ship, I imagine.
I just hope Seaman Stroganov doesn't find it and throw it overboard.
Oh, yes, so do I.
Looks like that's everything on the left. Holmes-san, are you there?
Sorry, I'm right here, yes. Why?
Oh, good. I thought you might have climbed into the wardrobe when I wasn't looking. There's no place like home.
Believe me, I don't have some strange compulsion to jump inside every wardrobe I see, you know.
Well, anyway, I'm not sure anyone could fit inside this one. It's full of beautiful outfits. I suppose they're all stage costumes.
I was rather hoping we might find Miss Pavlova's friend hiding in there, but no such luck. This cabin door has the same simple sort of bolted latch that our cabin door has. If the bolt's drawn across, there's no way anybody could enter the cabin from outside.
Yes, it's not a particularly heavy-duty bolt, is it? But still, it wouldn't slide across of its own accord, would it?
No, and the door's made of metal, so there's no chance of trickery using magnets to unbolt it from the outside.
And it seals up perfectly, too, to stop any seawater coming in. So you couldn't use the method you told me of passing a thread through a crack around the closed door, either.
I seem to know a lot of tricks for opening doors. I'm starting to see why they suspect me. So this ventilator connects to Kazuma's cabin next door.
Yes, although what a fool a shipbuilder must be to open a ventilator into another room.
Maybe. It's so that if there's a gas leak next door, the occupant of this cabin would notice and raise the alarm.
Or the occupants of both cabins would die of gas poisoning.
That is a possibility. Anyway, last night, Kazuma wrote that he saw a speckled band coming out of this ventilator. There's one of these next to the bed in Kazuma's cabin, too.
Yes, it's a bell cord. I can't resist. Chingling.
She barely hesitated there, and she gave it a good tug, too.
No, I didn't actually expect anyone to come.
You don't want them to. We're trying to investigate in secret.
What else? I guess that's it. Guess I'll head out. No? Oh no, what are you doing? Oh, it's Mr. Sholmes, look.
Wow, you never know where he's gonna turn up next, do you?
He seems to be stealing a look at something as he sings to himself.
I did it the great detective way. He's still singing. Do you think he hasn't noticed us?
Or he's simply in extremely high spirits.
Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when the yard bit off more than it could chew. And through it all, when there was doubt, it's lucky her luck was about. Excuse me. I solved it all and I stood tall. I did it the great detective way. Mr. Sholmes! What is it? You want to fight, huh? Honestly, interrupting a fellow when he's singing. I was just about to reach the climactic finish.
Sorry, I thought you were never gonna stop, so I figured now is as good a time as any.
I very nearly dropped you to the floor with one of my famous right hooks.
Alright, I get the picture. Now could you put those fists away? Mr. Sholmes, you seem to be examining something before we interrupted you.
Ah, yes, that. I was immersed in study of the ship's log, as penned by the stockily built crewman who's usually on guard here.
Oh yes, the ship's log. And did you find out anything useful from it?
Well, after 2 a.m. this morning, the majority of the entries are blank.
Which means that there's nothing to report. Nothing of note happened, so...
You truly are a student from the land of the rising sun. You've been utterly blinded by it.
Sorry?
Your logic, my boy, is inverted.
Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
Observe the other pages and all shall become clear. It would seem the same crewman of Stan's century in the first-class passageway, and he has an almost religious practice recording nothing to report every half hour.
Oh, he writes that in every 30 minutes. Nothing to report.
Precisely. Put simply, the seaman writes nothing to report when there's just that. And yet,
the ship's log from last night is largely blank. He didn't even write nothing to report. Do you mean...
Yes, there were circumstances afoot last night which led to the seaman being absent from his post.
What kind of circumstances? What happened?
That remains a mystery for now. We can be sure something significant took place. So significant that it caused the seaman to forget his regular habit of scribing nothing to report in the log. These are important details. I would stake my life on it. You must log the ship's log in your mental file.
Ship's log has been entered. Now that deduction was worthy of a great detective.
Ah, you're starting to understand what my way is, I see. What makes Sholmes Sholmes. Brilliance! Ouch.
What is it? Are you hurt?
Oh, don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning for some reason, nothing more. Well, my friends, until our next encounter.
He's still singing to himself. I can hear it as he wanders off down the passageway. Something wrong, Suzato-san? You seem lost in thought. It's just... well, I feel the same. Sorry? Ever since I woke this morning, I've had something of a headache. A sort of continuous throbbing.
Oh, you too.
Why does everyone have headaches? No. I don't think there's anything else here. Maybe the door is unlocked? Because of Sherlock, or Herlock. Door leads to the second class area. Locked? No, it's locked. Ball. Back in Miss Pavlova? What's that? Shut down the engines immediately. Vessel sighted a quarter-mile full. Full stop. Hard to starboard. All hands, brace for impact. What the? I think we're about to crash into another ship. What? I can't stand. Suzaru-san, hold on to me. Suzaru-san, are you alright? Are you injured at all? I think I'm fine. Thank you, Naruhodo-san. It looks like we avoided a collision. I think. Yes, the ship has come to a stop. Oh my goodness! What about you, Naruhodo-san? Are you hurt? No, I'm fine. Hello? Is anyone in there? Shout if you need assistance. Oh, that sounds like Inspector Hosanada. Is that you in there, Naruhodo-san? Unbolt the door, quickly! What? The bolt? Look at that! The door is bolted. Did you do that, Suzaru-san? No, I didn't touch it. Well, that's strange. How did... And look at all the books. They're just like they were before again. Naruhodo-san, aren't you going to open the door and let the inspector in? I better tidy this place up first. Our violent emergency stop had solved one mystery at least, in a very vivid way. But I knew that what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried around tidying up the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart. To be continued. Part 3. 9th January, Sestra, Miss Pavlova's cabin. Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Suzaru-san took a deep breath, then gently slid back the bolt. You, what are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? Ah, you both look unhurt. Good. Yes, we're fine, thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship. Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though. Oh, how did that happen? There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming. Crew are running everywhere. This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Oh, I see. Someone triggered the alarm? Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside? Ah! You wicked intruder! Dressed all in black, you're the devil! Sorry, me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first. You opened my traveling case! How could you? What? No, we didn't touch it. That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector! Yes? Arrest this man. I know he did it. He's a criminal. Is it not enough that he's killed a man?
Duh! And he is stowaway as well. The vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe?
Take him away. He's a trespasser as well as everything else.
Stowing away, trespassing, killing. She's right, you are devil.
It doesn't look good, does it?
There's a cell below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police.
Wait, a cell? Please, Inspector Hosonaga, is there nothing you can do?
This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options.
This is terrible. This is a real crisis. I've got to find a solution. Immediately. What are you doing now? What the? What are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes! Oh my god, he has the tail.
Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. Have I not told you that as a detective it is my business to know what other people do not? This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no, no.
Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then?
Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally. I wish to determine if it would bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounce.
I never know whether to take this man seriously or not.
Ah, you again, the great detective. Ah, Inspector, I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time. What is to report? Speak. An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes, the case of the curious murder that took place last night here on this vessel, the steamship Bella, has been solved. By me, naturally.
Oh, what? Really?
Yes, I have eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I am about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Oh my, here we go. Oh, you have solved it. Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all knew who was responsible for killing Student Boy this morning when we found criminal in the wardrobe. It is this stowaway. He has handcuffs to prove it.
I didn't do it.
The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because, as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who is inside the cabin.
Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories.
Ugh, locked room. That's his point.
The room was locked.
Well, I can't deny that.
There's no way the bolt could have drawn across from outside the cabin.
You are all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all.
What?
Oh yes, there's another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolted door. What other entrance? We never discovered one. Why, it gapes open-mouthed at you even as we speak. The ventilator, man! The ventilator? You think this is funny? I cannot even put my arm through that hole.
That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks.
You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening. It's not possible. Ah, but it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator.
Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Are you referring to the words Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Precisely, my dear madam. But what does it mean? What is this speckled band? The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin.
Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing?
There is a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I am about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your cores. Behold.
Yeah, what the... Oh, there is a snake.
Allow me to introduce you all to the band, the speckled band.
A snake?
Indubitably.
Mr. Sholmes, just one thing.
Pray, what troubles you?
Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? It looks more stripy, wouldn't you say? Yes, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it... the striped band, wouldn't you?
You both see and observe with distinction. However, do you not think this is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall?
Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap. How exactly?
I think perhaps it is time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova?
I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me.
There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one, last night your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin.
Ah.
And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life.
No. She's turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right. He's hit the nail on the head.
This young woman's friend killed Mr. Sogi.
It looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head.
I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck. So, everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
Great deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Intruder's identity.
Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. And it is that very pain that evidence your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin onto that torturous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night?
No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this.
Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying, but failing to conceal, can only be the snake's sloth skin. Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin, no?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Last night, through the ventilator visible in the cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the other side as a bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake whose markings change every time it snows its skin. A snake so dreadful we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. Conclusion: a beloved speckled snake. Topic 2. How Mr. Asogi died. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I have been apprised, it would appear there would be no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime.
Oh no, could there be?
Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. Almost, but not quite, imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snake bite delivered by your terrifying friend.
This makes no sense.
There's no point feigning ignorance, Miss Pagnova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt.
You don't...
It is telling that the victim made note of a low whistling sound that he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent friend?
To train?
Indeed. You'd put the serpent through this ventilator and wait. After a period, you'd summon it back with a whistle. You couldn't know the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared not to have been dispatched, you released the snake once more. Do you deny the snake has undergone such training?
It's not true.
Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs in once, and its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending its existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor young man's life. There can be no doubt. My logic is infallible.
Conclusion. Death by a venomous snake's bite.
Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of the speckled bun. Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor you will observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Incredible! You solved the mystery. Amazing! Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see why Herlock Sholmes has become such a household name. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand.
Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes?
But of course, what's on your mind?
It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me.
I welcome questions as to my method, and will answer both loudly and proudly.
Oh, well, good. First of all, snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family.
You are well informed, madam.
And reptiles, don't drink milk. Ugh. It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So, I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward.
No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do the bidding. Her bidding? Milk was merely an example. The logic holds.
Well, there's something else. Snakes have no ears.
Oh.
Yes, so I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal to a snake by whistling.
But madam, what of the tales from Arabia? Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sounds of a flute?
I think perhaps the performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements.
Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears. These creatures are so inept as to be practically useless.
Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes. There is one other thing.
You have more?
Snakes use their scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in these cabins.
Then it should try harder.
Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this. I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, no, you don't mean... Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be. I had a feeling that was coming. Alright, let's give it a try.
Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, right.
So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again.
What?
You done it again.
Your handcuffs are gone.
Where did they go? Fear not, I shall see them restored after our work is done.
Really wish you'd leave them off.
Now, everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular.
Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. She does have a pain expression on her face. Yes, that's true. She looks as though Kazuma-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind. But you're not sure Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression, then? Let's take a moment and really look very closely at Miss Pavlova. Oh. Oh, Naruhodo-san, look! This looks like a very painful wound. It looks like a scratch made by some kind of small animal. And fairly recently, too. Well, whatever scratched her doesn't appear to be around here.
Yes!
Yes, when you recall those horrid events, the claw scratch smarts with pain. Indeed, and simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch? Sometime last night. Ah! When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from his wound is worse. What is that very pain? Evidence of... What is the nature of this intruder? Naturally, as the friend which he boarded this vessel. Not doubt your friend is the withering serpent. Why really? It seems likely that that scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they? No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet or which claws might grow. Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers? You should follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we'll find the answer. Kitty! Look at the photograph in this frame. This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away. She is exceptionally beautiful, isn't she? Yes, that's true. But personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that's caught my eye. Maybe we'd better take a closer look at this. Miss Pavlova. Must be a stage costume she's wearing. Quite stunning. I should like to have something like that. And she's wearing the 20,000 rubles on her head as well, look. It's called a tiara, Naruhodo-san. We shouldn't think of it purely in terms of its value. She must be a strong-willed woman. Turn her back on the world stage and run away all on her own. Little kitten. Look at the little cat Miss Pavlova is cuddling here. Oh, what a cute little kitten. It could vie with you, couldn't it, Naruhodo-san? The blackest outfit. A black kitten. And from the look of this picture, at least, Miss Pavlova seems very attached to it.
Yes!
Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear. Oh no! The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you?
leave her behind.
Darker would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, the fact leaves us in a quandary. Speckled bear. This specimen's markings do not fit the description anyway. What explanation can we then give, pray? What's the sights?
No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with me.
But it does. Yes, that we should have tried. And we can see.
Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid behind her back.
If she just left it in her pocket, no one would ever have known.
Oh, yes, toys like that are Mr. Shell's specialty. Sam was so cleverly forced to reveal something.
I thought deduction was a speciality. Maybe making me believe that was a ploy too.
Anyway, I find it hard to believe that's the skin of a snake.
In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? Well, it is speckled and it is a band, but
What is it?
what is it? It seems to be soft and fluffy. A long piece of cloth of some sort. And that looks like a handle at one end.
I think it may be a cat's toy. This sort is common in the West, apparently.
How's that a toy for cats?
Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kids in particular love that sort of play. You need only to wave it in front of them and they pounce to catch it.
That sounds positively adorable.
Yes!
Yes, the thing you're trying but failing to conceal is, a cat's toy. Precisely, and the true nature of the now infamous speckled burn. And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume? Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what reason? My dear boy, there can only be one answer to that. After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return. In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian brood of cat by the name of Darka. A truly troublesome feline, young Darka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. Photograph of him.
It was after I gave her her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Taka, she is so naughty.
Conclusion. A beloved kitten. Solved. Moving on. The young man lives his life. Visible signs of injury. In fact, victim's terrible venom.
What Mr. Shalom says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma-sama's body.
That's right.
But Mr. Sholmes seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned. Yes, it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now. There are no traces of exchange.
Yes!
In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Ah, yes. I knew it was one or the other.
His neck was...
Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. Seeming strong not even some immortal freak, you know. The jury is out. Anyway, we have on good authority that the victim's neck is broken. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it at the scene of the crime. Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something or someone.
Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though.
Presumably Darka didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a final blow.
I suppose it's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident.
Oh yes, a bad fall could explain it.
It's rather hard to believe for Kazuma-sama, though. He wasn't a clumsy man.
Well, we need to fix this deduction somehow.
Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happened?
Yes!
Yes, an examination on the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish.
Shoe polish?
Indeed, positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results. The undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Sogi's lace leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Sogi must have caught his foot at that point on the floor and tripped.
Please, no.
And, by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some immovable object as he fell to the floor. Suffering the fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered. In that instant, he lost his life.
No! I don't know. I don't know anything about this.
Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Sogi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, the case.
I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama nearly tripped over, and now he's no more. It can't be true. I refuse to accept it.
I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened.
But
And if this part of Mr. Shum's deduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes. Where, I wonder? Let's have a good look around. The answer must be here somewhere.
is it in the case? In the basket? This is a waste paper basket. Perhaps all the first class cabins have them. Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin late at night. Last night. There's not much rubbish in there yet. Oh, what's that? It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you. So just present the basket.
Yes!
That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that waste paper basket.
Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object. It would seem one that has a familiar air, in fact.
Did I just skip something? I looked down for a second. No, okay. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor of Mr. Asogi's cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly. Oh no!
So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in that waste paper basket in your cabin? You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? I don't know, and that hush Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question.
What?
Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell, that would be...
Yes!
If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see hanging from Darka's collar. The very glass bell in question.
The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall.
And the cause of that fateful stumble? Your absent feline friend, Darka. I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry. Conclusion. Death by tripping over a cat. Yikes. Production complete. Elementary. Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? Tell us exactly what happened last night. It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands.
People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments.
She was so fast. She disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her.
And that is how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it?
Yes. And I had read the rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed Darka with me.
Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really.
So I listened and listened, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping.
So at that point, he thought it safe to try to lure the kitten back again. By dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator and into the adjoining cabin.
Papa always loves this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return.
Some faint whistling sound Kozma wrote about in his diary was Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened.
Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down. But then... Meow!
Thud.
Eee. I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out and then... Oh, it was such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards, nothing. It was totally silent.
Kozma was... From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems likely that what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up. The SS Berta is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. If Mistress Sogi was already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet, the combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. But what became of the kitten afterwards?
In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator.
Yet Dogger is nowhere to be seen.
I must have forgotten to lock my keys. And now she's disappeared again.
Gracious, that cat is insufferably restless as I am. Well, he knows something about himself at least.
When I woke this morning, I heard that a young man in the cabin next to me had died. But I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was so scared. Scared that they would send me back.
Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake? You're right. Where is it? If the snake isn't your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it and where did it come from? What on earth is such a dangerous creature doing on board this ship? Oh, I didn't say. Snake is my friend. His name is Pirozoko. Pirozko. What?
What?
That snake belongs to you. He escaped from cage when emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him in here. Yes, how did that snake get into this cabin? But animals are not permitted on board. We are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long without a close friend, without someone who understands. Couldn't you find someone a little more human who understands you better? But my dear burly fellow, a gargantuan venomous snake. Surely you can appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in. No venom. Frosco does not have venom. He is harmless, very long but very gentle. He's adorable like Granny. It's venomous. Yes, now he is hungry, so he is in bad mood. But once I feed him, he will be big smile. He will say big smile. And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose? Huh, like they say the milk chickens. Ridiculous. Snakes that drink milk are only stupid stories. Proskoro eats mosses. Big fat round mosses. So is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there is for? Of course. How else can I catch my friend's favorite food? Nothing says top of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now. It refuses to drink milk. It can't hear a whistle. It can't climb a bell cord. And it's not even venomous. How the deuce did something so inept land a starring role? It is not my fault. I did not make up stories. My brit score has nothing to do with this incident.
So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death. Miss Pavlova? I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life. If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you.
But what are you talking about, Miss Mikatova? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events, an accident.
I'm no great detective like Mr. Shelms. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I could see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? To be perfectly honest, yes. There's discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it.
I confess, I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with my outstanding issues on this matter. Oh. I am only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction.
A distraction?
I do hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable.
Not again. When did you do that?
Especially as there are no risks as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call.
You were Mr. Shelms?
Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not?
Yes. Cosmo was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom, even.
In that case, we must follow this to its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, whatever that may be. The key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. The truth about how you really died. How about that scene in your cabin really came to be?
Alright, I'll see what I can do. Excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo.
So then, shall we begin?
Yes.
What we should ponder first is the victim who lost his life in a cabin was bolted shut from the inside. Is this truly an unfortunate accident? Or was it in fact no accident at all? This is what we must establish in the first instance. We've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten that had climbed into his cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident.
Hold it!
Wait, let's just take a step back. It doesn't make sense if that's really what happened, does it?
I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid.
Yes, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Miss Pavlova's story here. The evidence is right there in Cosmo's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't possibly have been a mere accident.
Really? Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruhodo. Time to present the evidence.
Evidence that proves unequivocally that the victim's death was no mere accident. No mere accident. No mere accident. Because he has the Russian.
Yes!
The truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. There's no way that Mr. Sogi could have left this message on the floor.
That script, it's Russian, isn't it? Indeed it is. The word written means wardrobe. I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message in their native language, Japanese in this case.
But maybe he was studying Russian. It is a simple language. He could have picked it up very fast.
It doesn't seem likely. That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not. Sorry? What do you mean? Exactly what I said before.
There's no way that Mr. Sogi could have left this message on the floor.
And the reason why? It's clearly explained in here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Instant death. Which means, after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't possibly have written anything. Because he was already dead. It's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Sogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there, if what Miss Pavlova told us was true. What?
So, Suzada-san has noticed it too, then. Putting this message on the floor aside, there's something else that gives the truth away. Another piece of evidence that proves this was no accident. In other words... remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there.
Yes!
What point are you trying to make with that? No.
Trying to see how Kazuma's death really happened. No. Whoops.
I think that I'm starting to see nothing of the sort, and that was the evidence to prove it.
Whoops. It was no accident, and what we should be looking for is one of two things. Either the absence of something you would expect to find at the scene of an accident, or the presence of something you wouldn't.
Most stupendously put, my dear madam.
I see.
I confess you're rather languid. I see. It doesn't fill me with confidence, Mr. Naruhodo.
Don't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. I believe in you. Well, more than Mr. Sholmes does, anyway.
Yes, it's starting to take shape now.
Okay, let's see. Evidence is right there in Kazuma's cabin. And this message on the floor.
Yes!
Dang it. Okay, hold on a second.
Yes!
It says I'm supposed to present the bookcase, but how do I do that? Do I present the mark again?
Yes!
Okay. This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor. So that's the glass bell the kid had around his neck. I already know all about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped over the cat and fell. So we already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that logic? Unfortunately, there's a very big flaw. A fatal flaw. What? That's really what happened. And how did one half the bell end up back here in this cabin? Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in that waste paper basket? Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova? Oh no. Both these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. That when Mr. Asogi died last night in his cabin, there was someone else in the room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth in order to cover up his or her own guilt. Yes, there was someone else present in Mr. Sogi's...
Hold it!
You're wasting time. Someone else was there. Duh, of course, we know this. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There's no way in or out. Oh, yes. And only other person in cabin when your student died was you.
Yes!
It's true I was in the cabin when it happened. You were shut inside the cabin wardrobe, to be precise about the details. But I don't know Russian. There's no way I would have left that message. Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message, to be precise about the details. Would you mind? Forgive me, my dear fellow. As I was saying, the person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been asleep in there the entire time. And then the same person picked up the broken glass bell that had fallen to the floor, for fear of becoming evidence that would show how Mr. Sogi really died. Why wouldn't this person have taken all the pieces of the bell away? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions. Yes, well, it was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. A single small lamp suspended from the ceiling would barely have cast any light onto the floor there. Little wonder then that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the tiny item.
all suspect me, don't you?
Hold it!
Seaman Stragnov. Nina is woman of sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago, I noticed her dancing skills and she went away to join ballet company. But before, she was dancer on this ship, a member of ship's band. You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal.
So that's it.
You say that when the young student died, Nina was there in his cabin. But that's not possible. I gave my tooth. Well, that is almost interesting. And why would you give your tooth, pray? How can you be so sure? You're a great detective. You should know. The truth in eyes. Cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go into cabin. Not Nina, not anyone. Or you want to tell me that killer can walk through blocked doors? Нет, it's impossible.
He's right. But wait, I read about this in detective stories. People often tie thread around door latches so they can open and close them from the outside.
Thread? Are you stupid? These bulkheads are not barn doors. Certainly not. These are watertight doors, as one would expect to find on any modern steamship. Constructed of heavy steel, with not a gap in sight, no threads or needles or magnets could have been used.
No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruhodo suggested it earlier, so... Susato-san, how could you shift down to me like that?
So, Seaman Strognow has a valid point. The cabin door couldn't have been bolted shut from the outside. Not necessarily. What? I put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it. And in this very cabin, we can see the traces of the method I have in mind having been used before. I don't believe it. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you?
I need to shut the bolt of the cabin door from the outside. One way does spring to mind, yes. Do you really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, and so should you.
Because we've seen it happen.
Indeed we have. So, would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo?
Point out the telling to someone was a method that was used to slide the cabin door bolt across from the outside. Bookcase?
Yes!
Look at the bookcase there. See how all the books and things on it have toppled over. That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before.
Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over.
I believe... Yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia, acting on the objects. Is there nothing Susato-san doesn't know? Or that isn't in her book, at least? Well, whatever it's called, the same force that pushed over those books in the bookcase has also made something else in this cabin move. A bolt on the cabin door. It was very obvious just after the emergency stop that the ship made earlier. We had come into this cabin not long before. We hadn't bolted the door. But then...
Hello? Is anyone in there? Shout if you need assistance.
Oh, that sounds like... Inspector Hosonaga. Oh, yes. That's it. When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the door.
Yes, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed. Or the force of ineptia, if you want to call it that. Are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Sogi was killed, says Burrow made another emergency stop. When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had toppled over, and all the ornaments. It was almost as if someone had run their hand across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over.
Oh, yes, I remember that. And I stood them all up again, didn't I?
Then when we came into this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing in here. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Asogi's cabin.
Oh my!
Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova? Are you out of your mind? You say Burrow made emergency stop. It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that possibly have happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit is actually someone from the engine room. Oh, it's just simple enough. Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside? It used to trigger the emergency alarm.
Oh, yes, of course. There was a notice, wasn't there, telling you only to press the button in times of emergency.
On dark nights when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. This sort of button, one is almost compelled to press to satisfy his one curiosity. Wait, it was you! When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interest of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings, and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed it did a little earlier today.
Mr. Sholmes, surely it wasn't you who...
As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion.
He sounds almost proud of himself.
How dare you mess with ship? I report you to Captain. You're in much trouble now. No, I'm sure all that can wait until later. Let us not overlook the fact that we have now learned a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin doors slide closed. So, we must now consider...
Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Asogi, did this ship make an emergency stop, or did it not?
You are idiots. But it is a huge ship with many passengers. If you make emergency stop, even in the middle of night, there will be chaos everywhere. What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night.
We have evidence to support that idea.
Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo?
Fascinating. Do show us, my good man.
What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency gripped this vessel last night?
Yes!
Seaman Stragnov, it's your duty to patrol the first-class area of the ship, isn't that right? Duh, that is correct. Why? In the ship's log here, this would be where you record the details of your duties. What are you doing with that? That is mine. Ah, you rather carelessly left it atop the little makeshift barrow in the passageway out there. But as responsible passengers, we took it into our care with a mind to return it to you later. I left it there on purpose. That is where I'd put it always. The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances you write the phrase, "nothing to report," every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all. Nothing recorded in the log. That is... Ugh, because nothing happened. But if nothing happened, you would normally write "nothing to report," wouldn't you? Ugh. Indeed so, which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m., something happened. Here aboard the SS Burra. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact.
Are you suggesting that the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night?
Stop talking rubbish. If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself.
Oh, why?
Well, because if something as major as emergency stop really had happened, surely all of us would have noticed.
That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently, and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine that anybody would sleep through that, even if it happened in the dead of night.
Well, no, that's a good point. What the throbbing? Sorry, what do you mean? Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. They've all suffered with it. Oh, yes, I have had a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today.
Nor have I. My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn.
Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected.
He's right, my head's been throbbing today too. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy. I can't really remember anything that happened after I climbed back inside the wardrobe. And the first thing I noticed this morning was the throbbing pain in my head. I had already been dragged out of the wardrobe and had those handcuffs put on me by that point. Why didn't I wake up when all that was happening to me?
Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, you boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you?
Well, yes, sorry.
The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on?
Well, old Kazuma looked after me. He was always happy to share his meals.
So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it?
Yes, in fact, I had all of that. Kazuma wasn't fond of chicken.
Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all?
That's right, he didn't touch it. Is that relevant?
My dear fellow, does that not strike you?
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say that there was something wrong with the chicken?
I do.
No, really? Is that really true?
The meal prepared for the passengers last night had been tampered with. Tampered with by the addition of a sulfuric designed to induce very deep slumber in those who consumed it. A sleeping drug.
Do you mean whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug so no one would notice the ship's emergency stop? Mr. Naruhodo, of course that's not what Mr. Shell means. What a far-fetched idea.
Precisely. Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a sulfuric drug would certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. What?
Mr. Sholmes!
Well, seaman? I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. If you refused to talk, there would have been an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew, and the captain himself, would be hauled over the coals for aiding and abetting a renegade.
Please, no more. I will tell everything. I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore.
These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe.
Yes, so when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me.
We all agreed to help. Everyone together. She threw away everything. Her fame in the ballet. Mother Russia. We wanted to help our angel. I don't believe it. You're right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night.
Yes, I remember now. I did notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point.
Duh. We could not make all drug. How do you say dissolve?
Talk about heavy seasoning.
At midnight, in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was helped by comrade on shore with small fishing boat. All the passengers of the SS Bella slept soundly, thanks to the almost magical effects of the slumber-inducing potion their evening meals had contained.
So if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who disliked chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Kazuma's cabin door.
But how does that make sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case, and there would have been complete chaos. Oh, I wouldn't say so. What?
Of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins. After which they would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug.
Quite. And accordingly, all passengers are already in their cabins for the night.
Yes!
The overwhelming majority of passengers would habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway, and so not one of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. You have talked long time and said many things. What is point? The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone who had left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night.
But... I don't know about any of this. I'm just a little girl.
You like to speak with your non-English words and to explain your clever ideas. But I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes. A laudable trait. What? I'm quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes?
Do you hear it? The accusatory cry of guilt on the wind.
What's the accusatory cry of guilt?
Sorry, you've lost me. Proof of involvement, man, but you can't hear such a call with your ears. No, you must hear it with your eyes, for observation is the basis of all deduction. What are you talking about? I believe the time has come for one final logic and reasoning spectacular to expose the truth. So, Mr. Naruhodo, your assistance, if you please.
With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes?
With observation, my dear fellow. Just as I said, of these two provocators.
Observation? If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, we know that somebody tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Asogi's death. What we're looking for is some trace of evidence that one of these two was there when it happened.
Precisely. You're delightfully quick to grasp my meaning.
Alright, I'll see what I can see. So we're looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when Kazuma died. Oh, look at this. It's some kind of stain in an unusual place. Yes, you're right. It looks like ink, if I'm not mistaken. Ink. And look at the color, too. It's clear where this came from.
Yes!
Steven Stroganoff, you seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there.
Yes, I don't know where the dirt comes from.
So nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain.
What are you trying to say?
It would appear that the significance of this stain has escaped your attention, Simon.
Allow us to make it plain.
It's a very large purple stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform. And I think what made it is clear.
Indeed it is. So, Mr. Naruhodo, present the evidence that proves it.
My pleasure. Alright then, evidence that proves what the stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform really is.
Yes!
Yes, it's his photograph, and the ink it shows. That's what caused the stain on your uniform.
Ink. A rather unusual color of ink. Purple. The penny drops at last. Now you see the significance.
The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink. And the stain on the back of the uniform is ink of exactly the same color. Hello. Yeah, I saw it earlier.
If the ink had been dry, it couldn't possibly have stained your uniform in that way. Which means you must have been present in the cabin in the moments immediately after the ink was spilt. Alright, yes. It was me. I did it. Everything. I arranged everything in Dead Student's cabin to make it look like Wardrobe Man did it. Then I pressed button to make Burra do emergency stop and bolt cabin door shut. I did everything so no one would suspect our angel.
Biff, please.
Don't worry, Angel. Let me do talking. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty patrolling passageway. Then our angel came to me. She was white like sheet.
Biff, please, you must help me.
I went with her. The door to cabin number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw student boy on floor. What happened here?
Please, don't tell anyone. My little one, my little furry friend.
Everything that happened in cabin is like Angel told you. The kitten escaped through the ventilator into Mr. Asogi's cabin. Then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell to the floor. Yes, that is right. So, after the incident when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers.
Hello.
Only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor. She said she was worried when she heard sound of something falling on floor. That's when she went to look. No, Angel. The door was not locked. So she opened to look, and you already know what happened after.
There's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind.
What?
When you went to Mr. Sogi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Why?
I already told you. When Nina opened the door of the student's cabin and looked inside,
I was asking Miss Pavlova. Well, Miss Pavlova? Duh. Oh. Yes, that is right. I saw him. It was dark, and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was so scared. I understand, and I believe you. So is that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Kazuma's death at last?
Ah, something very nearly slipped my mind.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes?
This photograph. Yes, I took this myself, you know. The cause of death was a broken neck. Therefore, the victim died instantly. And the unfortunate incident that precipitated these events, the kitten on which the victim stumbled. However, those are the facts. There's one particular area on this photograph that seems to be somewhat unnatural. What do you mean, unnatural? What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, well... If Kazuma tripped and fell, and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck, which part of this photographic print seems unnatural?
Yes!
Alright, if he really fell to an unfortunate accident, then his fist doesn't seem quite right.
The exact same thought occurred to me. In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palms flat. Yet here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist. Almost, you might say, as though he were gripping something. What do you mean? Simply that I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago.
You did?
And what, pray, do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow?
Mr. Sholmes, show us, please.
Why, of course, my dear madam. Would I keep you in suspense? This is what I found.
Oh, a crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle?
Yes, you're right. A crescent moon. It's very pretty, but what does it tell us? It tells us nothing.
I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks... It looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before.
Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. That is the key.
What?
The truth is now tantalizingly close.
How did that crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fist?
This is the final clue. The last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? Then observe. Find the answer with your own eyes.
Where did the crescent moon come from? let me look at the picture, but... Oh, here it is. She has such petite ears among that beautiful hair, like little pink shells.
Oh, what's that? There's something dangling down from her ear.
Yes, that's an earring. Wait, look. It's a crescent moon.
Ah, there can be no doubt now, surely.
Yes!
Miss Pavlova, on your ear there. I see you have a crescent moon as well. What? And on your other ear, there seems to be a crescent moon missing. A little link holding it on must have broken, I suppose. Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly, there is only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. Miss Pavlova, Mr. Sogi must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, last night in Mr. Sogi's cabin, you witnessed the moment when the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally at arm's length from him. But then the question is, why did Mr. Sogi do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it in his clenched fist during his final moments?
Oh no.
Angel? No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night, what did you do to Kazuma?
Neat.
When I think about everything that happened yesterday, it was too much. Running away... Oh, I guess she's talking.
Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb onto this huge ship. And then, when I was at last in this cabin and I could relax after this horrible long day. Meow. Taka, wait! I couldn't believe it when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy, but nothing worked. Taka would not come back.
Knock, knock. Clunk. What are you doing here this time of night, Inspector? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine.
The young man from your country, he was very polite and kind. He helped me to find Daka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again, and I was going to leave the man's cabin...
Just a moment. Sorry, but...
Oh, yes.
I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before. Ah, of course. You're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina.
Huh? No, I don't know their name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land in the faraway east know a Russian ballerina?
Yes, I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But what are you doing on this ship? I'm sure I read that your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at the moment.
I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice.
I see. So you've run away.
Please, please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone.
Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here.
He's going to pull that cord. He's going to tell the captain. Why did I think I could trust you? And it happened. Everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait, I shouted, and then... Meow. Daka jumped out of my arms and down to the young man's feet. And... as he turned around to look at me... Oh... I pushed him. I don't even know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just so scared. And I had to stop him from telling anyone about me.
And that's when you went to fetch help. From Seaman Stragnov, who was on duty out in the passageway. I heard Nina cry out and thud on floor, so I ran to her. She was standing at cabin door, shaking like leaf. She looked at me and said,
Help me, Beef. If they find out, I will be... Please, I have nowhere to go.
So you decided to help. And that's when you arranged things in Kazuma's cabin to make it look like I did it. So that no one would suspect the passenger in the cabin next door. Yes. I went into the cabin and I looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. And then I found Stowaway in wardrobe, still sleeping.
Right, that's when he found me. So you worked out a plan to lay the blame on the stowaway.
I closed wardrobe doors and put back strange paper sign. Luckily for me, that's the only reason Sada-san started to believe me when I said I was innocent. I dragged young man's body to a good place and used ink that was spilling to right on floor. I wrote whatever that is, so that person who found him would look inside wardrobe and find Stowaway. And tell me, what of the glass bell?
It was by my feet, so I picked it up.
I see.
But it was dark in the cabin. I didn't notice the other half.
An angel went back to her cabin, and I finished job by pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway. Yes. Accordingly, the SS Bura did indeed come to an emergency halt at a little after 2 a.m., thus enticing the bolts on the door and the cabin door to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery.
There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova. What?
Well, you said that you told Kazuma about the fact that you'd run away from your homeland. And it's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Isn't that right?
Yes.
But even if you had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been a problem?
It was what he said first that made me scared.
What he said first? What are you doing here this time of night, Inspector? Oh. I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine.
He said an inspector was his friend.
Oh, yes, meaning me. Who was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard.
I thought that if police knew about me, they would arrest me. So before he could pull the bell cord, I... May I stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? just doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, was Mr. Sogi really going to pull the bell cord? I don't know. What? What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, I'm not Kazuma, so I can't know for certain, but he was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give you your secret away, then he wouldn't have done. No, he was walking over to it. He was going to pull the cord. He was going to make them send me back.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work is not yet done, it seems. There's one more deduction to make.
What? Another deduction?
Yes, what action was the victim really about to take at that moment? Can we determine whether the young man's gaze was directed? First, consider the victim's location within his cabin.
That's easy. I remember every detail of the room. I mean, yes, I spent quite a lot of time in the wardrobe, but still. That cabin has been my home for this entire voyage. So this is how the cabin looked last night when Miss Pavlova visited Kazuma-sama. Yes, that's exactly how it was.
Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, if there's one thing I've learned today, it's that a simple gaze can reveal all manner of truths. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze to where it lands. So, when he turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Kazuma looking at?
The wardrobe. My wardrobe.
I was in there at the time, of course, sleeping soundly. Too soundly. If only I hadn't eaten that chicken that was laced with the sleeping drug. If only he'd woken me up. Then maybe this tragedy would never have happened.
Take that!
Considering everything that had happened last night, certainly it may have looked as though Kazuma was going to ring the bell cord.
Yes, however, what is directly besides the bell cord? The wardrobe.
The wardrobe.
And more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe? The man's great friend, sleeping soundly.
Miss Pavlova, please, think back very carefully. What were Mr. Sogi's exact words last night?
Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here.
Another opinion?
Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Sogi intended to consult his close friend on the matter. To see if between them they might be able to help in some way, no doubt.
Oh no. Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that. But I wish you had made sure of what Mr. Sogi was looking at. Things may have ended very differently if you had.
Miss Pavlova, I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did, and that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that.
I'm sorry. Really, I'm so sorry. What have I done?
And so, at long last, the mystery surrounding the tragic accident on the SS Bura is finally laid to rest.
9th of January, 7:14 p.m. It says, that's Kevin Passenger. What will happen to Miss Pavlova now then?
Once we reach Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police at Scotland Yard.
What about the fact that she ran away from Russia? Won't the Russians try to repatriate her?
Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigration office and sort all that out. Mr. Sholmes can do that? So she won't be going back to Russia then? No, I don't think so. Even if she wanted to return in the future, I doubt she would be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile for life.
I see.
I'm sorry.
Seaman Stroganov.
I wanted to help our angel, no matter what. But I didn't think about you, about how you lost a good friend. I will go with Nina. I will give myself to British police.
That's kind of you. In the meantime, thank you for letting me go free again. Kazuma's death feels like such a waste, but... well, do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you?
Duh.
Well, I'm afraid you need to pack now.
We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me. I'm going to have to hand you over to the consul to arrange your passage back to Japan.
Yes, I did stow away after all. I couldn't really expect any different.
So, you should get back to your cabin now.
It looks like my study tour to Great Britain is over before it's even begun then. To think that only days ago, Kazuma and I were laughing together about how we'd tear up the streets of London. That seems like a distant memory now. Oh, what's that? Is it someone weeping?
Susato-san?
Naruhodo-san, I didn't know you had returned. Oh, well, I haven't been back long. Inspector Hosonaga just told me I should pack, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all that. I still can't believe that this happened. I can't believe someone's life can be over just like that.
Susato-san.
He had such grand ideas for his visit to Great Britain. So many dreams. And now they've been cruelly taken away. Just as he has. I thought I could never forgive the person responsible. But now I know the truth. That it was just an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. It's too much, Naruhodo-san. It's just too much.
Yes, I know. I wish there was something I could say.
Inspector.
My duty was to see Asogi-san safely to Great Britain. But I failed, and caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. I've let everyone down. And I will do anything to make up for my terrible blunder.
Nobody blames you, Inspector. And I'm free again now, at least. Huh?
Ha 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 ha! Surprise, Mr. Naruhodo!
What is the meaning of this?
Oh, a trifling matter. Simply that in my head, I think I shall always picture you wearing those shackles. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting.
Sorry.
So, I decided to restore them for old time's sake, shall we say? You are a stowaway, after all. Ha 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 ha.
He thinks this is funny. Mr. Sholmes. We do appreciate all your assistance. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Not at all, not at all. And though it's a little late, may I offer my sincere condolences. The loss of your companion is truly heartrending. I hope that you'll be able to fulfill some of his aspirations in his honor. I'm afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking at the next port in Hong Kong. We have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened.
Wait a minute. It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was the stowaway.
Terms of the study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be 1 lawyer and 1 assistant.
Was to be?
In the light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead.
Oh no, I don't care for me, but... Poor Susato-san.
My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is 1 lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely.
But there's no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know no other lawyer.
Qualifications, you say? Any qualifications obtained in your own country will be of little value in Great Britain, I'm afraid.
Oh, but...
But anyway, the voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer.
Yes.
Miss Susato,
Yes?
do you think perhaps I might be able to do it? But you're not a lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, unless... Are you studying law?
No, I'm not, but...
I'm sorry. In that case, I don't think there's even a chance it could work. But as I said, there's still more than a month before we reach England's shores. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, I have a month in which to study, to learn what I must to become a lawyer in Great Britain. Mr. Naruhodo,
That's ridiculous. Are you seriously suggesting anybody could learn all of that in just 40 days?
there's only one way to find out. I would work my fingers to the bone, Inspector, every single day. Will you let me try? And if by the time we reach Great Britain, I haven't learned enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate.
But why put yourself in such a difficult position? For Kazuma,
He said that there was something he had to do in Great Britain, and that he would sacrifice anything to make it happen. He was passionate about it. I can't let all that passion just come to nothing. And anyway, it's for my own benefit, too. I will become a lawyer. I have to. What do you say, Mrs. Otto? I think it's a wonderful idea. Thank you.
so what does our bespectacled inspector friend say? Are you serious? 1 lawyer and 1 assistant. The numbers are indisputable. No, 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 it's madness. Yet fascinating, wouldn't you agree? Fascinating. Duty and rules are the dull routine of existence that we all abhor. Give us interest. Give us fascination. Speak for yourself. Besides, qualifications are no measure of a man. What matters is his character, no? And you've witnessed ample evidence of this man's exemplary character today with your own eyes, from the early hours of this morning until this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion, and despite the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage. Very well. I'll think of a clever way to word my report to the Department of Justice. Inspector! After all, I did just make a promise, didn't I? I said that I'd do anything at all to make up for my shortcomings here.
Oh, thank you, Inspector.
If you'll excuse me, I must pay a visit to the captain's quarters, I think. I need to discuss what to do next and how best to make my report.
Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, I'm gonna try. I wonder, would you consider teaching me what I need to know? Everything about being a lawyer.
I would be delighted to help you. I am a judicial assistant, after all.
Thank you.
And, Mr. Naruhodo, I'd like you to take charge of this.
What, me? Are you sure?
I'm sure it's what Kazuma-sama would have wanted. Its name is Karuma. It's a great sword that's been in the Sogi clan for generations.
Very well, I accept. I'll treasure it always.
So then, Miss Suzato, it seems we'll be working together for some time to come yet. It'll be an honor, Mr. Naruhodo. And for the next 40 days, I shan't grant you a single minute of freedom. We shall fill every spare moment with study.
Yes, that's exactly what I need.
But before we begin, I have an earnest favor to ask of you, too.
Goodness, what is it?
Please throw me to the ground. 3 times.
What?
I should never have doubted you. You were Kazuma-sama's closest friend. Of course you would never have done anything to hurt him. That should have been obvious to me from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me. And no matter how upset I was feeling, it was completely unforgivable behavior.
No, you were in shock. You just found out about me stowing away, and the cabin door was locked from the inside.
No, I won't let you make excuses for me. Whatever the circumstances, I should never have thrown you. And not just once, but 5 times.
That number keeps creeping up, doesn't it?
Please, you must. Just take hold of me and throw me. Do it. Don't even think about it.
No. I don't even know how. I've never thrown anyone in my life. Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo. Isn't a skill one acquires without considerable training.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes.
I observed your throwing technique several times with great interest. I confess I was most impressed.
Where did you see that?
I presume that would be a form of Japanese wrestling.
Oh, well, in a way, it's not wrestling, but my own interpretation of an ancient jujitsu technique.
Apparently it's called the Suzato takedown. It leaves your head swimming, believe me. How beguiling. I am a practitioner of the combative arts myself. I am a somewhat accomplished boxer. There he goes, dancing around again. I wonder if you'd be so kind as to instruct me on the technique of your wristing throw.
Yes, I'd be honored.
Then let us not dally. Demonstrate, my dear madam.
Oh, of course. Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry? Hiya! As you can see, you throw from the abdomen.
Oh yes, arresting indeed. And that is what you term the Susato takedown, is it?
Actually, no, that was a Susato squash. In my groggy state of consciousness, a scene from an evening recently spent with Kazuma flickered into my mind.
Karuma. That's right. It's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Sogi clan.
I can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. I mean, taking a katana on a study tour is more than a little irregular, surely.
A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Rinosuke. I can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. I truly believe that.
So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two. Not that you would need much compelling.
On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain, and I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me.
Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you.
I knew you wouldn't let me down.
That important thing he had to do. I still don't know what that was. But I'm going to see the place for myself and work it out. In Great Britain's capital, London. The end. Okay. So, next time, looks like we're gonna be in London. I'm just gonna end it here so we don't get any, like, spoilers, quote unquote. So, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!